Hi there everybody, my name is Kate and welcome to my channel, Trinergy Awakens Naturally. This is a timeless message as always, however it's relevant for Mercury retrograde, particularly right now. Doesn't mean that stuff can't spook up and make you feel weird later when it's not Mercury retrograde. The same technique applies, it's just this particular time we're right before the solar eclipse and there is just my thirsty dog giving a slurp and burp soundbite. Thank you, Honda. The Mercury retrograde with the solar eclipse is bringing up a whole lot of static in the energetic circles around us. At least it can be. It definitely is for me. That I'm feeling a whole lot of noise, a whole lot of chatter, and quite frankly, a whole lot of bullshit that isn't mine. However, it's tapping what is mine. And that's like somebody else that's got a 50-pound load that they're carrying, and I've got a 5-pound load, and that they're angry and grumbling, and they're not just grumbling anymore. They're trying to, here, you take 10 pounds of this, or take 50 pounds of this, just take all this. It doesn't mean that I'm responsible for it. I'm still responsible for my 5 pounds or my 50, whatever I've got, but I certainly don't want to be taking on anybody else's mystery bag, 111, of what they're doing. Now, the reason this is relevant is that during Mercury retrograde, we're going to get a lot of revisitation of old things, and old things that didn't go well are going to smell. And they're not going to smell any better if they aren't dealt with. So I like to deal with things as they're coming up. You know, I used to be an avoider. Just don't do that, or just avoid this conversation because I don't want to upset anybody, or, you know, just avoid life. You know, it didn't work. It caught up with me and nearly killed me when it did. So I wouldn't suggest that we stick our head in the sand. 144, thank you very much. I wouldn't suggest that we stick our head in the sand when the energies are pushing hard, and they're not going to soften up, folks. They're going to ease up, you know, out of the new field of vibration that we're in. However, that's already stepped way up and is driving a whole bunch of people right off the deep end. So it's going to pull back, you know, from feeling so harsh and being so staticky and so, you know, noisy in the energetic environment. However, still the expectation is the vibration is here. You know, we stepped up our expectation of the whole planet did, because she moved on and moved her vibration, and everybody on it is either get on the bus or, you know, fall off and really dislike that experience. So 222, thank you very much. When we're getting visitation again, when we have flashbacks, remembrances, conversations coming out of somebody else's mouth that, yeah, okay, that reminds me of a such and such, there's a reason for that, that we're being tapped with it. We don't have to take on the 50-pound, you know, baggage of someone else just because we're remembering something, even if we were in the wrong, or even especially if we were wronged. We do not have to take on the baggage that another person is kind of throwing our way or asking us to carry. Or is demanding we carry, or however it's coming across. We do not have to take custody of it. However, what's the best way that we can move it around and move it off? 303, thank you. The best way that I've found for alchemy, transformation, transmutation is to take a peek at that stuff and stay as objective as possible with it. And if it draws up feelings, if it draws up some real grief or, you know, sadness or anger, allow oneself to, you know, experience that, move through that field quickly and directly. You know, I wouldn't linger there. If there's sadness, it's okay that we stop, we cry, or that we express the what the, you know, oh my God, all of those things. It's okay that we express that. 333. It's a matter of, we're not lingering there. We're on the yellow brick road, and this is a way to somewhere else. You know, click, we're trying to get home here. You know, not to get stuck with the flying monkeys that are trying to stop us. So the idea is that when something comes up and it's unpleasant, I can experience the emotions of, you know, whatever it's bringing up. And as soon as I can resolve that, the quicker I can resolve it, I didn't say avoid it and, you know, sidetrack it. If it takes 10 minutes to cry and get over it, or to rage for a few or whatever, put some time, you know, time limit on it. If you have to set a timer, set a timer, you know, and then recheck with yourself 3 minutes later. Be realistic. You know, is this a good cry that I'm going to be snotting and boogering for a minute? You know, then make it reasonable. However, just to have an undefined, you know, ill-defined, we're on the road with the flying monkeys, you know, before we even know it. And we're clicking hard on those little red shoes, and yeah, we're not getting home because we don't even have the red shoes on for realsy. So get very direct about how we're going to do that. Strategize well. That when we move through that quickly and we're able to get to the other side of it, to close that portal of and that timeline, that reality tunnel, however you visualize that or understand that, when we get to the other side of that and we've reached a more peaceful solution. I didn't say we felt zen, and okay with ourselves or with the universe. We may not. However, if we're out of that rage or that sadness, that guilt, that shame, that, embarrassment, that abandonment, whatever those feelings are, the ones that we don't want to carry, our 50-pound bag, we surely don't want to take on anyone else's. And at that point, it doesn't matter whose it is. I want to get it off of me, regardless of who it belongs to, because I just don't want to be carrying it with me. I'm looking to energize my light body, and the way that I do that is dump out all the dark stuff that's real super heavy. Sounds easy. Well, it can be easy if we have our strategy, so let's go on. That when we reach that place of more peaceful resolution with it, we're not in full, cry mode, rage mode, whatever. We've exerted and squirted, in a safe, containerized place, not at someone, not harming ourselves, not harming anyone else, that we're expressing the true, authentic feelings of whatever we're going through, whatever we're experiencing, in a very strategic way, that we've got time on the clock that we can play with this. It's not indefinite, and we'll meet our needs, as we go, realistically and honestly with ourselves, and asking for guidance from our team as we do so. Then when we reach that place of balance, pardon me, when we reach that place of more balance, in order to more completely, truly close that reality tunnel out and bring light more permanently to that whole bandwidth, we bless that. We say thank you for it, and we really surround that whole experience with as much love and light and golden, expression as we possibly can, right here from the heart chakra, as much as we possibly can, and put some positive affirmations. That's where our positive affirmations and our very positive and righteous intention can really do some powerful work. If Mercury retrograde brought it to me, then let me go ahead and use this, to add to my vibranium, my strength, and my ability to move through this stuff with more grace and more mobility than I ever have before. That I don't want to get stuck with the flying monkeys back there, but if I do, let me hurry up and get that bucket of water out right quick and douse the queen who's in charge of all the flying monkeys. And as we learn how to do those things and navigate them, we really cut short the idea that we're going to let those wounded parts of ourselves just have free reign forever and ever, of just going ahead and rage as much as you want to, cry as much as you want to. It seems counterintuitive. However, even children, especially children, need to know that you've got not complete freedom, you've got complete freedom of the playground right here where you're allowed to play. You do not have free access to the whole wide world, because that actually makes children feel more endangered and more unsafe, and it makes them wilder and harder to contain. They like boundaries and they like rules. And so when we establish our own, only you know yourself, and as you're getting to know yourself, it might be a few minutes of grizzly right there, but you can figure it out. I promise you can. Just have to go in knowing that that's what you want to do. Your team will help you. That's what they're here for, or there for. That is what they're here and there for simultaneously. Yeah, okay. That when we put some rules on ourselves and say, look, I'm going to allow myself to rage about this shit for, 5 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever it is. That was terrible. It was unjust. It wasn't fair. And really go in deep on, how I feel about that. Avoiding the, stuff that's really hateful towards, I hate you and all of that stuff. If that's the honest moment you're in, then own that and be willing to say, look, I need to express this the way that I need to. And please containerize this in such a way, team, that I'm not actually projecting this on someone else and being unclean. I need to just get this out the way that I can. That's a safe way that we can do that. We're honest, in the universe, our team, and the inside of us, all the children know the boundaries of, hey, I understand you need to play, you need to rage, you need to do some stuff. However, you can't burn the whole house down while you're doing that. It actually will bring a more solid sense of safety, because we put boundaries on it that are realistic, and we're also willing to negotiate with those parts of ourselves that perhaps we don't know very well yet, but we're willing to make boundaries with them. Even a child you've never met before. If you were a kindergarten teacher, 909, you wouldn't just say, well, I've never met you before, so I'll just wait and see if you burn the whole school down. No, you have rules engaged already with, this is the standard practice of how I run my classroom. This is the standard practice of how I run the playground when I need to make sure that children remain safe. And we always want to remain safe in our energetic space, our physical space, every space. And right now, the energetic space is what's going to really help to keep the physical space even more intact. So if we go in understanding what the ground rules are and the insides of us, every part of us hears every part of us inside. Whether we're conscious of all that or not is irrelevant, but we're all, all the insides of us are all aware. So when we state those positive affirmations and those boundaries that I'm allowed to have my feelings, I'm allowed to have the rage, I'm going to own that, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to voice those. You have a chance at the mic, go ahead, go. Let it know that there's a time limit on this, and I want you to be as honest and get it out as quickly as you can, and it stops the perpetual story. It stops the flying monkeys from resurrecting and getting busy, because once we engage that energy again, the densest, darkest energy, that's where we can have some dogpiling from afar again. That, okay, cool, I was projecting that stuff over there and they shoved it away, but they didn't quite get it all the way away, so I'll just go in and make another pass of that. Do another flyby. Let me see, can I be successful now? And it's not that people are necessarily intending that stuff, or that it's as easily articulated or seen or visualized, like that. It's just, that's the concept of how I see that whenever it's kind of flying around me and giving me an opportunity to take something that really could be more cleanly done. You can take the trash out in just one sack there, Kate. You don't have to dump it all out and review it, look at it and go, yeah, I remember when that happened, and then put it back in the bag. If it's already in the bag and some kind of spilled out, then let's get that in there. That, man, I sure wish that hadn't happened. Shit, I just wish that hadn't happened. Cool. While you're putting that back in there, welcome to school. Get it in the bag and then go deposit that stuff 1111 and don't open it up again, because there's plenty of opportunity for us to get our feelings hurt and start this process somewhere else. If we still have work to do, if we've dismissed it earlier, we're sidelining, bylining, doing whatever, it will come back and ask us to please, can I have a chance at the mic again? Yes, no, yes, no. It will give us a chance. However, the more authority and agency we take over it, it's not an authoritarian thing that we're being a dictator with ourselves. We're being a kind and loving teacher of ourselves. We're being a kind and loving mentor to ourselves. And as we're taking the guidance from above, that, look, the way that we get through the healing process is not to be raging about this forever. It's to rage in those moments when that's what's real. It's to cry in those moments when that's what's real. And it's always with the end game of, we're here to heal. The universe is here to support us. And every part of us wants to. We really do, no matter how badly we're behaving out here or how anybody else is behaving is irrelevant. We really want to heal. That's the yearning and the call of every soul here on this planet, no matter how dark they're playing. I honestly believe that, and I truly do know that that's the truth, is that we're all made of love. And so those of us that are farthest away from it, we're super upset, because it's not, that going that direction really doesn't work very well. However, we're not concerned with them. We're worrying about, how do I pick up that trash and put it into my own sack and make sure that, yeah, that stuff that's not mine, that's not mine. We don't need to hunt down who it belongs to necessarily. We don't need to spit a dart gun across and say, don't ever do that again. You just simply say, yeah, that's not mine, friend, and pick up what's mine, and eliminate the need to really spend a whole lot of time doing anything more than to look for the very end game of it, is the resolution of it to the most peaceful place that we can feel about it. Like I said, we're not likely sometimes to get to, and we're just angelic in the end of these processes. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we've moved it out of that feeling of rage or grief or sadness or shame, or, I've been abandoned, or I've been double-crossed or stabbed in the back. It's to not be in that anymore, to move it up out of it, as far up as we possibly can, as with as little artificial, BSing ourselves about where we are with it. And once we reach that more peaceful place, to really visualize and see whatever works best for you. What I've found works for me is to really see a lot of very tender honey, type liquid white and gold light. It depends on whatever light is coming in that I'm seeing in my mind. That's what I usually go with, because that's what's being asked of me. Or I'll use a green, or call in very specifically, some chakra colors that seem like they're logical to the situation that I'm dealing with. However, most of the time at this point, I go with the color that's coming up for me. And if nothing at all is coming up in me to bring that place, then I know that, sorry, that's just a little stubborn one that wants to hang on a little bit there. Is there something more you need to say before we clear? And there really usually isn't. It's just a matter of, there's still some little part of me that's going, I don't want to be nice about that. You know, I'm still kind of mad about that. And that's fine. We can be mad about it. However, the answer to this, Kate, is to, you know, be of service to the situation, to be of service to those parts of us that it doesn't matter really at this point. This is a kid that's going, but I don't want to leave the playground. I don't want to leave what I'm doing. I don't want to stop having a tantrum. I like what I'm doing. Well, that's fine, but you're still going to have to get up and come on, get in line. That's what we're doing. The class is going inside now, you know, and it's not unkind. It's not mean. It's not shaming. And it's not, you know, playing with a little part of myself that is being denied. It's that you've been given time to express this, and this is just a little bit of digging in the heels, and we need to move it on now. And I talk to myself just like that, and I encourage you to have that kind of relationship with yourself too, because no one will be as honest with you as you will with you. I know people can tell you all about yourself, and they're, you know, somewhat true. However, what's really more true is that you're going to be the most honest with you and the most kind when you can get to that spot. And believe me, children that have really heavy-handed teachers that are unkind, they don't learn well. And teachers that are so loose and loving and have no rules, they don't learn well in that environment either. So it's the balance of, I'm going to need to seem unkind, but you know I love you and I adore you, now get in line. You know, that's how that works, is that, you know, this isn't personal, a little part that's trying to drag its feet. This isn't personal as in, you shouldn't do that, shame on you. It's none of that junk. We don't play that game, you know. What it is that we really need to pull this in line, because a majority of the class is already ready and we're waiting on you, you know. And unless there's really truly a problem that we need to identify and talk about, seems that you've had time at the mic, then let's pull it in tight. All right, let's go. And usually that works. And if it doesn't, if it turns into something more, then I'll sit with it. However, if that's just a little child part in me, or my ego, or, you know, some little undeveloped part of me, that's the way that it grows and learns to be more spiritually mature and more spiritually engaged with the whole class. This isn't about the one, you know, demanding and getting its way. You know, the least evolved part of me does not get to run the whole show. That's not how that goes. When that was the way that went, that was a disaster in my life, and I've never seen that work well for anyone. And that is ultimately the game that we're here playing, is to take that least evolved part of us, whatever it is, wherever it is, and whenever it is, and whatever it's doing, and ask that to please reach for something more, because we're maturing every day. We're growing up, you know. Every day that we step into kindergarten, we're one step, you know, into our growth as more developed human beings, right? It's not that we're looking to get, you know, to 12th grade and graduate. It isn't that. It's just that time is moving forward and you are getting older. And as you get to first grade, we have more expectation of you. As you get to second grade, third grade, we have more expectation of you to be able to wait more patiently. And when you're in kindergarten, we get that, we understand that. But now that you're in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, or, you know, you've been out of school for a minute and we're still working on these kindergarten skills, well, then let's treat it like it's there, and then have the expectation that we expect more. You know, it's time, let's do this, let's get on with it, get it out the door. So anyway, I hope that helps you in some way to deal with Mercury retrograde as it's coming your way. You know, it's hitting all of us, and it can catch us by surprise if we're not really ready. And that's why I suggest that, you know, as goofy as it might sound, or as, you know, uptight or whatever as it might sound, to, you know, have a more formalized plan. I found that for me that works very well, and if it works for you, you know, congratulations, I hope it does. But it does seem that those parts of me that really just need the guidance from, you know, a voice that sounds like it knows what it's doing, it's not the one that's, you know, going, it's not that one. That's not the one that knows what it's doing. It's the one that needs that, you know, more mature voice to say, look, we can give you an opportunity, you can have it, you just can't have free reign, 1818, to run the whole place and burn it down, you know, because you're mad. That's not how we do things. We need to deal with things in a better way that allows you to express that, and also does not destroy all of that that's around you, and will help to deal with those Mercury retrograde shifts and the upgrades that can be quite harsh. And, you know, there's not too many people that want to remember, you know, the worst days of their lives, or the worst days of somebody else's life that they witnessed or that they were victim to. You know, we just don't. We typically don't want to dive into that head first. However, the beauty of it is that Mercury retrograde can also bring back, you know, really good memories. People only talk about it like it's revisitation of the most awful stuff. tough. And typically, you know, in my experience, it has been. It's also brought the opportunity for me to see the better parts of those experiences where I go, oh, yeah, I remember that, you know, and yet how would I deal with that today? That, oh, that taught me so much, and that's why I can deal with that better today than I did 30 years ago or 20 years ago. Is that wasn't the most horrible thing of my life. However, that was a muff that, you know, that wasn't very graceful. However, because that happened, and yeah, it hurt my feelings, and I was embarrassed, and you know, all of this back then, because of that experience, fast forward here, that wow, that's really, you know, I can handle that much better now because I learned that kindergarten thing. I graduated, you know, to a higher class after that experience. And so not everything in retrograde has to be, you know, a horrific experience. When it does feel that way, it needs to be honored and respected as such and dealt with, you know, in the most appropriate way. However, we don't have to look for the worst and expect the worst and just, wow, everything's just going to hell in a handbasket because it's Mercury retrograde. It doesn't have to be that. It never has to be that. We always get to choose. It's a matter of how we're going to, you know, deal with what's in front of us. So anyway, as I said, I hope you enjoy your day no matter what part of the day you're in, regardless of whether it's Mercury retrograde or not. Regardless of solar eclipse or not. Enjoy your day and get within your skin, because you're divine. Oh my goodness, it is so sharp, so clear, and so not very fuzzy. I promise you, no matter how fuzzy it is out there, the divine is very, very, very clear, and it's absolutely fine, and it can help you get into that very streamlined, clean and clear message every single time. Might take a minute, and it takes some perseverance sometimes. However, go in with a strategy, and your team can help you organize that almost immediately the minute that we realize that that's what we need. That's half the battle. So anyway, take care of yourselves, as I said, and get within, because your divine is absolutely fine. It's stunning. Take care of your beautiful selves, and I will see you again next time. Mwah. Goodbye, my friends.